Oh, hey. Welcome to the final part in this Pyramid Head build series. In the last few episodes, we made the knife and the helmet. In this episode, we're going to build the suit and finish off this costume. It's probably going to take me a while to get across the lake, so maybe in the meantime we can do a quick montage of where we've been so far, for those just catching up. Kinda feel like I'm in a David Fincher film rowing this boat. Bum 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 ba dum ba da bum ba ba bum 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 ba ba dum bum 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 boo. And here we are. So what was that all about? Well, in the last couple episodes, as I've been building this stuff, I keep running into James. And I want to show him the stuff that I made, but for some reason he keeps running away from me. But not this time. There's nowhere for him to run now. Thought this place burned down. To start this build, I'll need to make a pattern for the apron first. Just like all the other creatures in the original Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head's apron is less clothing and more part of his body, with the bottom portion being fully enclosed around the knees with strange deformations, similar to what you see on the flesh lips. This is even more noticeable in the original concept art. To make the pattern for this apron, I'll be making basically a giant duct tape template. But before I can do that, I first have to mock up the shape for those deformations around the knees. I'll be using some scrap 3mm foam and some aluminum foil to mock up those shapes. So, let's get on to the build. I started this mock-up by making a piece of foam to fit around my leg at the top of my boot. I did this by cutting out a circle in a sheet of 3mm foam, wrap it around my leg, and taping it back together. From there, I then marked the shape I needed and then cut that out. With the base outline made, I started adding more pieces of foam to fill out the shape. Once I got enough of that down, I then moved on to using aluminum foil and some duct tape to fill out the rest of the bulk and those bulges around the knees. And with the knees mocked up, came time for a duct tape template. The first step, wrapping myself in plastic wrap. I did add a small pillow between my knees to help fill in the gap at the bottom, but I should have added more as plastic wrap pulls in tight on the body during the duct tape template process. And I needed to smooth out the shape from my belly to my knees. That said, I do end up correcting this later on. Once I was fully wrapped, my wife and I took turns covering my body in duct tape. I got what I could reach in front, while she got what I couldn't. With everything all taped up, I then took my Sharpie and marked the open lines for the suit. In most versions of Pyramid Head's apron, there's an off-center seam in his front for 2 straps, and then there's a large zipper down the back center. With those seams marked, we use those lines to cut myself free. On to the next step. Before we move on with the duct tape template, we gotta talk real quick about this apron. That's better. There's been a lot of versions and redesigns of this apron over the last 24 years. In some versions, it's just an apron. The movie turned it into a skirt for some reason. Even the remake completely redesigns the apron. It opens it up in the back and the bottom, making it look almost like he's ready to cook some burgers out in the grill. Just needs a kiss the cook sign slapped on the front. The original version, however, is a fully enclosed body sack. It looks functional from the top, with the straps in the shoulders and the zipper in the back. But once you get down to the knees, now it's a cancerous mass. Similar to what you see with the flesh lips, where everything's distorted and deformed. This isn't supposed to be an actual apron. It's supposed to be a part of his body. And pulling this off with fabric is going to be tricky, because I'm going to need sew lines below the knees to get those shapes. Fortunately, there is a lot of weathering on this apron, so I can hide a lot of those sew lines in that weathering. And to figure those sew lines out, let's go back to the basement and start cutting apart that template. I used the original game model for reference on where I should cut my sew lines. Thankfully, there was a lot of weathering on the sides, so I was able to do a straight cut down the sides. I also took the front seam all the way to the bottom, and then separated the underside portion. The right knee's tube shape needed extra attention as well, as I needed those pieces to lay somewhat flat when transferring them to fabric, which meant cutting out relief cuts here and there throughout the whole thing. If I was able to, I chose to make relief cuts where there was black on the apron, in hopes of being able to cover it up later with paint. And with that cut out, I needed to fine tune the template. So before transferring it to my final fabric, I used some cheap junk fabric first, and traced my duct tape template to that. With all the pieces traced, I took them over to my cutting board to cut out the pieces, and then pin those pieces together. I'm doing this first because I needed to double check the fitment, and make adjustments. It's always easier to cut and adjust your junk fabric during your template making process before using your good fabric. Test fit went fairly well. The only major adjustment I needed was that the front seam wasn't straight. This is partially due to my belly, but also because I didn't leave enough slack under my belly during the duct tape template process. This was no big deal, however. All I really needed was another piece of fabric to figure out what I needed to get that seam line where I needed it. Everything was looking good, so I was ready to transfer that to my good fabric. The fabric for this would end up being the last thing I bought from Joann's before they closed. It was probably about a week before when I bought it, so selection was insanely limited. But I did find this really cool tan fake suede. When it comes to weathering, it'll hold paint really good. Downside though is it had no stretch whatsoever. But considering the nature of Pyramid Head, it's kind of fitting. Did I scare you? In the last episode, I mean.
Yeah, you did.
I just wanted to show you my costume.
Is that why you're here too?
I've been following you through this whole town just to show you this cool stuff I made. And I'm tired of walking. Well, it's not done yet anyway. And I tried to trace out my fabric, but Sable had other plans. She wanted to be a paperweight, she wanted cuddles, she wanted to take my template pieces. A perfect little helper. Once Sable's work was done, I was able to finish tracing my template. I also made sure to go back around and outline my template to make extra room, so that I can sew the apron slightly larger. Once sewn then, if needed, I'll have extra to sew it tighter where I need. That all done? Let's cut it out. Not much to say here, just using my cutting wheel to cut out my pieces. And there's Sable again, inspecting my work. And from there, I started pinning everything together. This is done pretty much inside out. I tried to do this in sections, so the entire bottom got pinned together. And I folded and pinned the open sections, like around the arms, and along the top for the front and back, as well as the zipper lining. And from here, it became a back and forth game with the sewing machine. Pinning the zipper to the back, and then over to the machine to sew it on. Then pinning the bottom portion on, and sewing it in place. For the shoulder straps, I used some leftover fake leather that I had meant to use for a previous project. I used the rough side because it could absorb paint better for weathering, and I folded the ends to make them look a little nicer. And of course, Sable had to help again here too. And it was finally in a semi-wearable state that I could finally do my first test fit. Well, kind of a test fit. I needed to figure out where I wanted my shoulder straps, and to take note of any fixes that I might need to do. With the straps figured out, I took them over to the sewing machine and sewed them in the front. I left the back untouched for now, as I'll be adding buckles later. So for the time being, I moved on to mocking up the front straps, checking my reference to make sure I got them at the correct height and spacing. And then sewed those on as well. I also took note that the large bulge in the right knee felt a little deflated. So I used my old mock-up piece from my duct tape template and used it to mock up a foam insert with cushion foam. And spray glued that inside. With everything all sewn together, only thing left to do now is the harnessing. Someone left their can opener here. This obviously means the straps over the shoulders, but I'm also going to need something on the inside. If you look at the original version of Pyramid Head, you'll notice that he has love handles, for lack of a better term. The fabric's pulled tight at the waist and there's just a little bit of overhang on the top. Now, I'm kind of a big guy, so I already have love handles myself, so I can work with this. All I really need to do is to sew in a drawstring on the inside around my waist. To make the drawstring, I first needed a channel for it to fit in. This was super easy, or rather it should have been super easy, as Sable thought this scrap fabric was her pillow. I just folded leftover fabric and sewed it in a straight line with the string already inside. To make sure the string didn't come out, I knotted the string and then sewn the ends of the channel real tight. From there, I needed to figure out where to pin this for sewing. Obviously, I couldn't sew this the entire way around, or I'd have an obvious sew line again. So, my main focus was the love handles themselves. With those pinned in place, I took them back over to the sewing machine and sewed them at the sides. These sew lines will get covered up later during the paint process. With that on, I gave it a test fit to make sure it was okay. It seemed to poof out in the back a little, and I still needed to work on the front closure as it kept poofing out. These were all things I had to keep in mind for future adjustments. But for now, time to finish those shoulder straps. The shoulder straps for Pyramid Head have some kind of clip or buckle in the back. While I didn't have this exact kind, I did have these leftover ones from my Darktide cosplay build. Having these buckles back here is nice though. They won't be hard attached, and they'll give me room for adjustment. I used some leftover leather that I had previously from the shoulder straps, and pinned them to be sewn. I also needed to figure out an enclosure system for the front. Velcro patches would work good enough. I just made sure to place them every so often in specific spots to make sure nothing would bulge out. And then over to the sewing station to sew those on. There. I think all of the sewing is done. I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope that everything's okay. Obviously there still might be some minor fitment issues, but we'll find out. As I have said before in many of my videos, test fitting is insanely important when you're doing a full costume. Don't just test fit it before the convention or whatever. Obviously test fit over and over as you build. It's kind of the equivalent of the measure twice, cut once thing, except, you know, after you make an adjustment before you move forward, test fit. Make sure it's good before you move forward, because sometimes if you move forward beyond that, you might not be able to go back without undoing everything. So it sucks, but test fit as much as possible. Not terrible. How's the side profile? Okay, I mean, I am fat, but it's tucked in a little more in the back. But the silhouette's looking better. I'm not super happy with this, but it's not a whole lot I can do with that without redoing the whole thing. But as far as mobility, this is about as far out as my legs go, which I think is fine. You never really see him doing splits, so I think this is pretty good in terms of stretch. All right, I think for now we are okay. I'm gonna take a break and probably call it a day and go do something else more fun. Man, glad I found this can opener. I haven't eaten since Eddie gave me that piece of pizza back in the bowling alley. That was a while ago. But anyway, since we're here, you've probably seen me wearing a pair of boots when doing some of my test fits. I haven't mentioned them yet because I kind of had to swap them out. Get myself a nice pair of goth boots. Now, what kind of food do we have in here? Why? Can't eat this. All right, so it's been maybe 3 days, I think, I'm into this build. It's hard to tell because of my work schedule, but this is the part I hate the most. These boots suck. These were off of Amazon. I think I might have talked about them before already, but I have big feet. I'm a big guy, big feet, whatever. I wear size 14s. These are supposed to be size 14s. They don't look like size 14s. They don't fit like size 14s. If I had to, I was gonna deal with them, but I don't wanna deal with them anymore. So I did something. I got myself a real pair of boots. These are a nice pair of Demonias, if you could read it from the start. And these are actually size 14. In comparison to show, which one is actually size 14. You can see how cramped my foot was. They are about the same exact height, maybe just a ½ inch shorter, but no big deal. These are, I guess, gonna be salvaged for something later. But in the meantime, I get to open these up. I did already try that one on. They do fit. They fit well and they fit comfortable. They are Demonias after all. They are comfortable. Now, I'm old, so back in my day, before Demonias, we had Doc Martens, and Doc Martens were the shit. Now, Doc Martens are not the shit. They are, in fact, shit. And I can tell just by looking at these, compared to the Doc Martens that I've had, the most recent pair of Doc Martens, these are a lot thicker. Yes, Doc Martens, don't ever buy Doc Martens. They are fashion shoes. These are legit. These, I believe, are the vegan option, so they are fake leather, which is fine. I don't care either way for myself, but they look good, they feel good, and they have a ton of room. What in the hell? Oh my god, life with cats. But yes, they fit good, they look good. I like everything about them, really. They're super nice. But yes, I'm gonna give these a try and then check them out with the actual costume and see how things go. This is gonna be sweet. I like these already. Unfortunately, for the costume, it does lace up front. That was originally the only reason I got these, was because these did not lace up front, or anywhere really. In the game, he has a zipper on the side, and then that was it. Everything else is fully enclosed. That's a sacrifice I'm gonna have to make for both comfort and style. And of course, Sable had to supervise and make sure I was tying my shoes properly. And with those all laced up, I gave the apron a test fit to see how they look together. Not bad. From there, the apron's pretty much done and ready for paint. But before I do that, I want to take care of the arms next. Instead of subjecting the world to my flabby arms and man boobs, I'm going to be nice and I'm going to wear a bodysuit. It'll hold everything together a little nicer, plus I won't have to wear body paint every time I want to wear the suit. You're not supposed to be playing that music. I started with a gray bodysuit as my base color. I didn't need the bottom half, however, so I cut that portion off, more or less turning this into a long sleeve shirt. And before paint, just to be safe, I gave the apron a test fit with it to get an idea what these two looked like together. I started with an airbrush first. I originally wanted to get as much as I could while wearing it, but that was proving to be impossible. So instead, I decided to get as much black as I could, including all the outlines. Once I got what I could, I stuffed the bodysuit full of shopping bags and started painting it the rest of the way, outlining the definitions with a tan, allowing the suit's gray to highlight the peaks of those body parts. And then adding red in the gash on the forearm. This portion is actually from farther along in the build, but I'm showing it now so that the end of this video isn't all over the place. After a test fit, I noticed that I needed to take the black on the body deeper down the sides, as you could still see the gray around the apron when I'd raise my arms. While I was at it, I also added more detail to the arms as well. Using a paintbrush, I applied some very thick glossy black paint on the outlines around the forearm gashes. I liked this so much that I then applied this to other spots as well, like around the shoulders and wrists. With that all done, I then went over the tan portion one more time with a sponge, using various colors of black, browns, and reds to create a dirty, messy look.
What the hell is it? I didn't come here to play, you know. Okay, no problem. Oh yeah.
Player one. Round one. Go!
Well, if you don't like my one costume, what do you think about this one? Man, you're terrible at this game. I think I should show you how it's really done.
Come get some. Headshot. Double kill. Triple kill. Multi-kill. Killing spree. Unstoppable. Holy shit. Monster kill.
Wait. Where did he go? Well, now that the arms are painted, on to painting the apron.
You win!
I started with my airbrush in black. I tried to outline all the major portions of black on the in-game texture work to get it as close as possible. I then started working on some of the splotches, and I got inside the front opening, as there is a buildup of black around this as well in the texture work. While the black wasn't done yet, I moved on to doing the color shading next. I started with a brownish orange to blend in the edge of the black, and then a gray to highlight the more bare sections. With all that done, I moved back to the black, but this time with a brush with thicker paint. My goal here was to really darken the large black spots, and to lay this paint down heavy in multiple coats. From there came the splotchy blending. I tried to focus this in the same spots as the in-game model, and wherever it just felt right. This is just the first pass, so it is a little heavy, and it kind of looks like leopard print. Up next, I mixed things up a little bit by using some dark browns instead. I also started using sponge brushes from here on as well. This is a much more subtle pass, as I'm really just trying to blend colors here, between the solid black and the orange and tan that I laid down earlier. After that came a pass of reds. There isn't a lot of red on his apron, so I tried to keep this at a minimum while also using it to help blend some colors in. And with all the colors now on, back to the black. This will be the final top coat of the black, and I wanted it to have a shininess to it. So I mixed together several things to get the effect that I wanted. Some black, some glossy Mod Podge, and some metallic black. In the original texture work, the black is on top of all the other colors, and all the other color blends are underneath. I could have done that all first, but I wanted to outline the majority of the black spots first. Plus, a little bit of overlap between the blacks and colors and then black again does add a little more dynamics to the color pattern. Originally, I wanted to replicate the cross-hatching effect on his apron. This style of texture work is present on most of the monsters in the original version of Silent Hill 2, from the flesh lips to Pyramid Head, the hanging victims, the Mandarin, the bodies in Pyramid Head's lair, and Maria. They all use the same cross-hatching technique on their aprons and bodysuits, as if they're wearing the same material, or rather, their form is trying to replicate that same material. Unfortunately, replicating this would have been impossible without a stencil of some kind. I was trying to freehand this for a minute, but that just wasn't working. So I went back to trying to blend the black with as many small dots as possible. Continued to reference the original game texture to make sure that I could stay as close to those textures as I could. Now that the apron's pretty much all done, only thing left to make is the gloves. This is another interesting detail. Pyramid Head's gloves have webbed fingers. The thumb, 3 middle fingers, and then the pinky. Some people say that this was just a way for them to save polygons on the 3D model, but every other character in the game has fully detailed fingers. That said, that style of webbed fingers isn't exclusive to Pyramid Head. In fact, every monster in the game that has hands has a pair of white gloves with webbed fingers. From the Flesh Lips, the Nurses, and Maria's final form. Why this is, I don't know, especially with the white surgical gloves, but it's a common feature that all the monsters in the game that have hands have. Well, all of them but the Abstract Daddy. His hands don't have them. Granted, in the original game, he didn't even have hands, he just had stumps. For some reason, the remake gave him hands. But it doesn't really matter anyway, because that's not James's monster, so... I mean, I could go on a rant about all of his design changes, but if I were to do that, I'd be going on a rant about all of the changes in the remake. And that's a video for another time. Yep. Yet another thing the remake didn't include. They wouldn't even include the teleporting doors. That said though, I don't think the gloves are that important of a detail to derive much meaning from. It's just an interesting detail that they all share. But these gloves are what we gotta make, so we're gonna make them. Man, I hope this stuff isn't still water. For the gloves, I used some random stretchy fabric from Walmart. I traced my hand, drew out the webbing, and cut the pattern out with a little extra, and then over to the sewing machine to sew them together. I sewed just a little outside of my outline, and used 4 pieces of fabric for double layers on the top and bottom. I then took it back to my cutting table and cut off the excess, flipped the glove right side out, and gave it a test fit. Fit felt pretty good, so I took it back over to my sewing machine to finish off the glove by hemming the wrist. James, I was looking for you. The gloves, they're the only thing left. Maybe then I can rest. No, seriously. It's been like 2 months of me editing this video. I need a break. Why are you always running away?
Oh, It's hot as hell in here.
I know, right? And what's up with these guys on the walls? Well, he can't run that much farther anyway. He's almost at the end, and so are we. So let's get back to the build video and finish up these gloves. Even though each side is 2 layers, just to be safe, I put on rubber gloves underneath for any ink that would soak through. I started off with a light gray, highlighting things like in between my fingers and the creases in my palm. After that came the colors. I did some light passes with reds and browns, both with an airbrush and a sponge. As these dry, they will bleed into the fabric a little, which is kind of the effect I'm going for. Then finally, I did a pass of black in the crease of the palm using a sponge. Why does it feel like I've been here already? Like I've done this skit before. Finally, the Pyramid Head costume is all done. This is where it all ends. James can't go any farther than this. He has to face me now.
There are all sorts of strange things around here. Okay. Is this the right way?
Finally, after 4 full episodes of this build series, I have you, James. There's nowhere left to run. Behold, my finished cosplay.
I understand now.
Do you know what I am? Do you know why you created me?
I was weak.
You wanted to craft, James.
That's why I needed you. Needed someone to punish me for my sins.
I mean, I wouldn't call it punishment. I just wanted to inspire you to craft. That's why I made those templates, for this helmet and the knife. Wait, you made one?
That's right.
Dude, that looks great!
Now it's time to end this.
Whoa! Okay, let's not get too carried away. Method acting's kinda weird, even in cosplay.
No problem.
Watch it! Don't make me do this, man. I don't want to do this.
I'm done with you. But I don't need you anymore.
Overconfidence is equally just as bad as imposter syndrome. Making costumes is supposed to be about fun. This isn't over yet.
It's time to end this nightmare.
I'll get him to understand the proper cosplay mindset before this is over. Thinking he doesn't need me anymore. We'll settle this out by the lake. Wait, this isn't right. I should be outside. Where am I? How far does this hall go? If I'm right, I should be way over top of the lake right now. Man, I hope this doesn't lead to an in-water ending. Look at this cosplay. It's terrible. Between my fat gut and all my screw-ups, I don't deserve to wear this thing. The helmet's all wrong. It needs to be longer in the front and back. There's a weird curve in the front, and the whole thing curves at the top. I should have just started over. I couldn't get the bottom portion of the suit right. It doesn't bulge right around the knees. Instead, it bulges out my back, making me look even fatter than I already am. The gloves were so rushed, I couldn't even get the right materials. They should have been a glossy spandex, but I couldn't find anything in time. I feel like I should just restart the whole project. The whole thing's wrong. It doesn't even look right. But nothing will ever be perfect, and if I stay on this project forever, I'll never get to work on anything else that I want. I should just learn from my mistakes and keep moving forward. I can always go back and fix a few things, or make some upgrades later on. Besides, cosplay is all in the name of fun. Going to a convention and running into other fans of the things you cosplayed, sharing that joy with a stranger, if only for a moment, it makes it worth it. Especially when talking to other cosplayers. Regardless of skill, they have just as many gripes with their own costume that no one knows about. But they're more than happy to share their passion of crafting with you, talking about all the techniques they used and their last-minute con crunch struggles. I can't wait to start my next project.
I'm sorry.
Are you still here? Go! Let's finish this video already.
Sure is quiet here, huh?
Yeah. Gives me time to brainstorm my next project.
I didn't mean to scare you. I was confused.
It's fine. This Silent Hill stuff's been fun and all, but I'd like to move on to another franchise soon.
Oh, sorry.
It's not your fault. I have more Silent Hill projects I'd like to do, but I don't think you need me anymore. I think my role here is done.
I don't know what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Like what? Isn't that...
Maria.
You don't sound very happy to see me.
Is that the lady from the last episode?
Yes!
You look different. Did you do something with your hair?
No!
Man, what did I do to you? Wait, where's yours?
Anyway.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway?
No! Leave him alone!
I was almost killed back there! What?
Sorry, lady. I don't exist. I'm just a figment of his imagination.
You must be joking.
Forget you. Are you still here?
I just wanted to take in the moment. Say, you don't happen to know if there's any craft stores in this town, do you?
Oh yeah, the one on the lake? I wonder if it's still there.
Guess I'll find out.
You're coming with me?
You want me to go craft shopping with you?
That's right.
Really?
Sure. Let's get out of here.
That great knife looked amazing, by the way. You have to tell me how you did that. Hey, wait up. Man, that was a long walk. Still don't know how we made it out of there. Hey, do you mind if I drive?
Sure.
Hey, before we go, I'm gonna hit the restroom real quick.
No problem.
Sable? So this was all your work.
We control everything.
Is that why I had to follow James down all those holes?
Oh, that was Kiana.
I get to press the buttons.
I knew this all felt familiar.
You've been here for quite a while. And you'll be here for just a little longer.
Hey Sable, what's this button do?
Kiana, wait. Don't press that.
Hee hee hee.